Hello. Throughout this month, we will be handling, topics surrounding relationship. This is February, and I want to start off with an interesting topic. Something I think and I believe that a lot of people must have heard of, or if you've not studied it or researched it, at least you know from observation. But there are some things I'm going to show you from this topic that I believe will be enlightening to you, that will make you think again. You're going to glean it from a different perspective, and I trust will leave you thinking a whole lot about this topic. So come along with me as we have this conversation today. So today I will be speaking on male and female differences. Male and female differences. Now, we'll go back to the beginning in Genesis chapter 1. It was so clear from Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, where God the Father said, "Let us create man in our image." The next verse, the Bible now says that God created man. Man was created in God's image. But something else happened. The Bible said that God created man in his image. He now said male and female created he them. That means the divine image looks exactly like the male and the female human being. The male and the female human being is exactly the divine image. And I think that is amazing. And when God brought the man, Adam, and the female woman on earth, you will notice physically that there are a lot of differences. You can tell a woman apart from a man. And it is said that the purpose of anything created or produced is usually or can be seen from its design. That means some of the things you are supposed to fulfill and achieve in life as a man is already inbuilt in your design. When you see a hammer, the way a hammer is shaped, you can definitely see that the hammer is shaped in such a way that it will fulfill a particular purpose, which is to drive nails into wood. So you have the handle, then you have the curved, sturdy edge with which you use to drive nails into wood. That is a classic design based on purpose. And I believe that God made the male and the female to fulfill certain purposes that he had in mind before creating man. So I'll kick off this conversation with the physical differences between the male and the female. This is the one I would say that is just obvious. Just by looking at the man, you can tell a lot of differences between the man and the woman. All right, before we go into the differences, there's some things I want to pinpoint. When I use the word man, I mean male. When I use the word woman, I mean female. But when we go to the Bible, in Genesis chapter 1, man is actually the male and the female. But for the purposes of this teaching, when I use the word man, I mean female. When I use the word woman, I mean male. Now, when I start pointing out some things, giving you statistics or some things, and start pointing out some differences, and I say the women are like this, I don't mean 100% of the women. I actually mean a majority of the women. When I say women are like this, women do this, men do this, or men are like this, I mean a large majority of men are like that. A large majority of the women are like that. So please bear that in mind. All right. God first sent man, the male, here on earth, Adam, before he sent the female. And by so doing, he has already shown us that the man is supposed to be responsible for the woman. And that also was clearly seen when they fell. When God came to the garden, he did not speak to the woman first. He spoke to the man first. Why? The first one that was introduced, the firstborn, is usually held responsible for the other children. And I'm sure if you're married and you have kids that are grown, you do that also. When you come home, the house is scattered, you usually look for the firstborn and ask him or her why the house is in the state that it is in. So usually the firstborn have grown knowing that they are the ones that are responsible for things when they go wrong, even though they might have not contributed to whatever that might have occurred. And when we now look at the differences, we're going to start from the physical differences. I won't be talking about the obvious differences. I'm going to be talking about some things, like I said, I want to get you thinking. So in these physical differences, I want us to look at the genitalia of both the man and the woman. The design of the male genitalia is such that it is the one that takes the lead. It is the one that, goes for it, if you know what I mean. While the female genitalia is designed in such a way to receive that direction from the man. That is why the man takes the initiative to go wooing a woman. The man takes the initiative to go chasing a woman. That is the way it is naturally, if you know what I mean. And when the man reaches climax and he's done, you also notice that his seed, the spermatozoa, continues the journey from where he stopped. It is the seed that swims towards the ovum, the egg. The egg has been placed somewhere waiting to receive the seed from the man. So you see, in all these things, the man is the one taking the initiative to get things going. And I believe it is for a reason. Like I said, it shows that the man is supposed to take the lead. And this is a major, major difference. Of course, we know about the bone structure of a man and a woman. That is why when you dig up a skeleton, like they do all in the archaeologists always do, when they dig up a mummy, they can tell if this mummy is female or male based on the design, the size of the bone, the brittleness of the bone, the design, especially at the hip area. You can tell from the pelvic area which is male and which is female. And it's also said that the male bones are more bristle and thicker than the females. Of course, we know about the muscles, so let me not go there, but there's something I want to point out about the muscles. The muscles of a man are designed to push and to pull. To push and to pull. That doesn't mean a woman cannot push or pull, but the male muscles have been designed to do that, while the female muscles have been designed to carry loads. That is why down in Africa, where I'm from, a lot of women carrying things on their head, and it is easy for them because their muscles are designed to carry loads, especially also to carry loads on their back. That is why in Africa, kids and children are usually carried on their back. So they have this muscle, especially around the pelvic area, to take that weight easily more than the male. When we come to fat, men's fat are round about their abdomen, but they are more or less intertwined between their organs, unlike the female that is just on the surface. That's why it's easier to liposuction a woman than a man. That's another difference I wanted to point out. Another difference that is very, very interesting is the skin. The nerve endings are closer to the skin of a woman than the man. Apart from one or two sensitive areas in a man. But for a woman, all over her skin is a pressure point for sensation. That is why, as a woman, or you must have noticed, women are careful of people touching them. They're careful of people touching them because of that. Any part of their skin that you touch sends some sensation into their mind. And most time, it can be interpreted as sexual. So a lot of women don't like people touching them, especially men, that is not their husband or a family member. And I think this is important. For us men, we need to know this. As a married man, if you're a husband, you need to know this. We need to learn how to touch our wives, because touching them sends a lot of message to them. More women have physical touch as a love language than men. That's why they're all about cuddling. Oh, cuddle me, cuddle, cuddle. They're always talking about cuddling, 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 cuddling. It is because of this. It is because of this. Now, the one that really got me, thinking, I mean, I didn't know this before, and I found it very, 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 very interesting, is that the woman's breast, when developed, remains full, unlike the breast of any other female animal. And I didn't know this fact before. They said for any other female animal, their breast is not full. It only becomes full or gets full when she's pregnant or she's nurturing a baby. Once the baby grows and the baby is weaned, after a while, some weeks, a couple of months, everything goes back. That's why some animals that are female, you turn them like a dog when they're still young. Nothing. You just see the small nipples, but you don't see anything. But once that dog gets pregnant, it's as if it starts developing. It's already fully developed, just that there is no need for it to be full. But they said it's only human beings that their female, upon development, remains full, whether they are nursing a baby or not. And this was one interesting, information for me. I didn't know that before. And I started investigating, why is it so? And I found out that a female's bosom is not only supposed to nurture, wasn't designed to nurture a child alone. It was also designed to give comfort to her lover, to her husband. It was designed to do that. And I was like, this is very interesting. No wonder Solomon talked about it. No wonder it is included in the Bible. When you read the Songs of Solomon, you see it in a couple of chapters there. Solomon talked about the breast of the Shulamite woman, how it gives comfort to him, how he puts his head and rests in between her breast and receives comfort. And I think that is interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Now, when we look at mortality, you find out that the male are weaker at both spectrum of their life, at the onset and at the later end. At the later end, it is statistically proven that more women live longer than men. Statistically proven. There are more widows than there are widowers. And at the other spectrum, at the start of life, it is said that out of every 100 female conception that is lost through miscarriage, 150 male conceptions are lost. They also said from age 0 to 4, the statistics are about the same too. More male kids die than female kids. They come to a point of, unity at around 5 years upwards. Then at the middle age, men tend to be stronger as well. And I found that very, very, very interesting. Peter talked about men dealing with their wives with knowledge because they are the weaker vessels. But the truth of the matter is that male, when it comes to mortality, are weaker than the female. Let's look at some psychological differences. The brain, like we know, is a major difference between the man and the woman. So she said that the male used more of the left side of the brain, while the women use more of the right side of the brain. Now, the left side of the brain, it is said to be more of, verbal reasoning, logical side of the brain, while the woman uses the cerebral areas, which are more visual, and the verbal, the speech, aspect is also housed on that right side. And the emotional responses of man are also housed on that side. That is why women are better communicators. That is why women are more emotional than the men. And this is a major, major difference between a man and a woman. Understanding this difference goes a long way in understanding the opposite sex. I am telling you, for men, knowing how a woman thinks and reasons will save you a lot of heartache in your relationship with any woman, and vice versa. For a woman, knowing how a man thinks will save you a lot of headache. When I say a lot of headache in understanding men. So, a man will trust his intellect more. A man will make decisions based on logic. A woman will trust her intuition more, her perception more. She makes decisions based on her emotions. Very important that we understand this about the opposite sex. Very important. Because the dominion given to man, which is male and female, comes when they combine their strengths together. Their strengths. What the man has as weakness, the woman has as a strength. What the woman has as weakness, the man has as a strength. So wisdom comes knowing when to make decisions based on emotions or to make decisions based on logic, strategy, and reasoning. Very important. That is where we need God's wisdom to know which way to go and which way not to go. And it is said that it is this part of the woman, that is talking about the demerits, that made the woman, Eve, partake of that apple, partake of that fruit, even though God gave that instruction. I am a firm believer that Eve never meant evil when she ate the apple. I believe that she truly believed what the serpent said, that this would make them like God. And she was ruled by her emotions. And she ignored facts and reasoning and God's instruction not to eat that fruit. She was moved by emotions. Why? I believe also she has spent a long time with the serpent having that conversation. This is my own belief. It's not in the Bible. But I don't believe that the serpent appeared once, told the woman that thing once, and she ate the fruit next. I don't believe that. I believe she has given her ears to that serpent long enough for her emotions to get entangled. And it affected God's instruction that she of course knows, because she told the serpent, this is what God said. But she listened long enough and she made that decision based on her emotions. Now, for her to make that decision based on her emotions, I believe too that she perceived it right, that it was the right thing to do. So that also means that our perception, our emotions, at times can lead us astray. This is where the strength of the man should have come in. But alas, the Bible tells us that when she ate the fruit, the Bible says that she gave it to the man with her right there. So that means the man was quiet all along while she was having that conversation with the serpent. And he did not say anything. This will also lead us to the next difference. Because the side of the brain, the right side of the brain, which the woman usually uses, is where speech is housed. You will see that women are better communicators. They like talking, they like chatting. It is one of their strengths. It's one of the things they do easily. But you can also see how that affected their destiny, their purpose here on earth, how that finally led to them disobeying God. The man did not say anything. How many times have you seen couples being interviewed and it is the woman doing all the talking while the man is just there cross-legged and smiling or laughing or nodding or agreeing? The man usually leaves all the talking to the woman, and this is not good. The man or men, we must learn how to communicate. We must learn how to talk. We must learn to take lead, because you cannot lead, you cannot direct, you cannot chart a course without communicating it. So it is important as men that we learn how to talk. That is why in the church we must create forums for men where they gather, come together, and they bear their hearts out to each other in a safe space. At home, wives, please create a safe space for your husband to communicate. Whenever he has anything to say, please listen. Don't just hear him out. Please listen actively. There's a big difference between hearing and listening actively. Jesus will finish preaching, giving them heavy revelation of God, and he will end that speech by saying, "He who has ears, let him hear." And you ask yourself, the people he spoke to, don't they have ears? Of course they have ears. Didn't they hear what he said? Of course, they heard what he said. Then why then is he asking for them to to ask for them to hear with ears if they have it? He's talking about listening actively to understand what he's saying. Having information is not enough. Any information you have without understanding it will do you no good. Why? For you to apply that information rightly, which we call wisdom, there must first be synthesis of that information, which is done through meditation, which the result is understanding. It is understanding information that makes you take the right action. If I give somebody a hammer and the person does not understand the purpose for the hammer, he will use it wrongly. If I give somebody a microphone and if the person does not understand the purpose of that microphone, he might turn the microphone into a hammer. He has the information, but he lacks understanding. So listen to your man, because when you don't listen to your man, over time, he keeps mute. He stops talking. He stops bearing his soul to you. He stops sharing his mind to you. And it is very, very dangerous. Now, a lot of things happen to men because they're out there trying to make it work for their families. They're out there struggling to make ends meet. And at times, they are beating blue black. The world will deal you all kinds of things. They will deal you lemons. And most men don't know how to turn lemons into lemonade. And they bear all those things on their inside without releasing them in conversation to someone that they can be vulnerable with. What happens? They go and seek a way out. That is why suicide rate amongst middle-aged men are much, much, much higher than that of a woman. And they'll be like, where then is the resilience of the man? And they're resilient. They are. The difference is that the woman will talk about her problems. The woman will share how she feels with somebody that cares to listen. And she releases the pain onto someone. There's something about communicating and talking about your feelings. When you do, it's as if you let go of that tight knot around your heart or around your belly. But for the man, nowhere to release it. So he just bottles things in. And they can only bottle it in for a while. What happens next? that bottle will explode. And this is what in the church we must avoid. We must start taking men's ministry, very important. And not ministry where you gather men and talk to them or talk at them. It's part of it, yes. But you must create a forum in that men's ministry where the men gather. Create a brotherhood where they come together and they talk and everybody listens. That is what is more important. Men ministry, churches try to do men's ministry where they gather men and they talk to them and talk at them. It doesn't work. There's a lot of ministries don't have a strong men's ministry because men don't want to be talked at. Men don't want to be told what to do. So change that strategy. Create a forum where they air their minds, they air their thoughts. That way, you'll be of more help to them. Now, when you look at their spiritual gifts, you will notice that majority of the spiritual gifts are speech gifts. That's why as a man, you must learn how to talk. Gifts of tongues, diverse kinds of tongues, prophecy, word of wisdom, word of knowledge. All these gifts are connected to communication. So if as a man, you've not developed, your ability to communicate, to say what you mean and mean what you say, the Holy Spirit might struggle to work through you using these speech gifts that He has given you. Some other differences as we start winding down. You see music, they say men are brilliant composers of music, while women are brilliant arrangers of music. Men are better in math than women. These are some differences then. There's one I really want to spend time on. I'm going to spend a couple of minutes on this one. Men have this ability to compartmentalize things. And it's very unlike women, because women can't do that. Women live their lives in an integrative way. What do I mean by that? Men can separate their feelings, their emotions, from their speech or what they're saying or their actions. But women can't do that. A woman communicates how she feels. A woman says how she feels. A woman cannot separate her emotions, usually, from her actions. I'll give you an example of this. My wife and I, we struggled with this a bit. There were some issues we'll have conversations on. And because of the kind of person I am, I'm a bit exuberant and all that. She used to misunderstand it as me coming after her. So I had to explain to her after a while that when we are handling tough issues, I am handling the issue and I'm not coming after your person. Because at times I get so excited, I get so, and I say a lot of things and I'm like passionate about it. So it comes across as if I am attacking her. So it took me a long time to get this to her. I said, see, it is an issue. Once I trash the issue, it ends there. It has nothing to do with how I feel about you. It has nothing to do with what I think about you. It has everything to do with the issues that we are handling. Because for a man, it is very easy for us to separate issues from feelings. But for a woman, it's not so. When you tell a woman, oh, the way you left that door open, I don't like it. I've told you not to leave that door open whenever you go into that room. Always close it. I said it last year. I said it 3 months ago. I said it already. I've said this severally, and yet you've not heard it. You're still doing it. She interprets it that, oh, you're saying I'm deaf. Oh, you're saying I'm not good enough. Oh, that is what you mean. I'm like, no. That's not what I'm saying. And initially I used to be like, where are you coming from? When they say that women are from Venus and men are from Mars, I'm like, I never said that. I never meant that. But it's like, well, that's what you meant. I said, no, I just want the door closed. It has nothing to do with how I feel about you. Absolutely nothing. Just close the door after you. Simple. I'm like, no. It also took me a while to understand it. So yes, she needs to understand that I'm not attacking her person. I also need to understand how to communicate things better. I need to also change my approach on how I handle the issues I want to handle, to also help her, so she will not think that I'm after her. This is very important. Another part of this compartmentalization that we men do is that men can love several women and a woman cannot. Remember what I said at the beginning? When I say men can do this or this, I don't mean all men. Neither do I mean all women. I mean majority. All right? So always bear that in mind. So majority of men can love several women all at once. They can have affairs or have 2 girlfriends, side chicks, and a wife at home. And if the wife finds out about the side chicks, do you know what she will think? He doesn't love me anymore, because that's how women are. My man will be like, what do you mean? I love you. I love you. A man can do that. He has a wife at home, but he has an affair or affairs. And he loves all of them because they have learned how to compartmentalize things. And I've heard of stories where men, have wives in different cities, 3, 4 wives in different cities, and none of them would ever know anything about the other. And I think that's very, very interesting. It's this compartmentalization thing, that men do. But for a woman, it's not like that. If she loves you, she's all in. When she stops loving you and starts loving somebody else, she's all out with you. But what usually happens when wife starts having an affair is that even though she's all out with the husband, she continues her duties as if nothing happened. But her heart is with somebody else. But she continues her wifely duties, her homely duties. It makes it difficult for the man to even suspect the woman because it's as you are. What you don't know is that her heart has gone. Majority of women can also love several men. It's not possible. You will love one and maybe like one. But love, true love, doesn't really happen. So you see these women that their heart is with somebody else, continues with their wifely duty at home. Most of them are doing that for the kids. Once the kids are grown and gone, you see that woman start making plans to leave her husband for the new love. Why? She cannot share her love. Unlike a man is comfortable in doing that. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So, one of the other examples I'm going to give you about this is, when you watch the House of Commons, that is the British lower house in the Parliament, have their PMs questioning where the 2 parties go at each other. And you see them debating, and the time it gets so hot. And you wonder, the onlooker or the one watching on TV, you're like, man, these people hate themselves. What you don't know is that once they are done with that, they go to the pub, they go to the lounge or the cafe at Westminster there. The Labour MP and the Conservative MP are back together, drinking, laughing, smoking, having fun. Few minutes ago, they were at each other's neck in the chamber. Few minutes after, in the lounge and in the cafe, they're best of friends. Why? Men have understood how to separate emotions from whatever they are doing. But it's difficult for men. And I understand this is one of Thatcher's downfall. When they go back and forth like that, she misinterprets the debate as, oh, you're after me. And that led to, she takes it personal. And that I had led to some of our cabinet member falling out with her, and definitely there was an uprising, if I'm right, that happened. This ability to be integrative by a woman is also what helps the woman unite people together. Women are better peacemakers than men, and that's the truth. You see a family in turmoil, you just need maybe an elderly grandma to bring the warring parties together and make peace. Now, what she lacks in that is that he also makes the woman not to be the best when it comes to discipline. When it comes to discipline. Because it's hard for her to separate her emotions from her actions. And she will constantly feel for the person. So this happens to single mothers. So it's either they spoil their kids because of the absence of a man, or they go to the other extreme of overcompensating for the absence of a man, and they take their discipline to an extreme and become terrorists, to their kids. So either one or two can happen. So they are poor, disciplinarians. I had a story of a murder case where a woman, the accused, killed her husband. And there was a jury of 12, 11 men and 1 woman. They're supposed to, give a verdict at the end of all the back and forth by their lawyers. Now, the evidence was crystal clear, or the evidences were crystal clear that the woman truly killed her husband. But when the jurors went to deliberate on the verdict, it became a problem to reach a unanimous decision, because the woman, the only woman juror, refused to give a guilty verdict. When finally asked why she refused to give a guilty verdict, she was like, she couldn't just give a guilty verdict because this woman that apparently killed her husband is already a widow because she killed her husband. And she was feeling for a widow who became a widow by the criminal act she committed. She committed. And because of that, she couldn't give a guilty verdict. So women are poor disciplinarians. Poor disciplinarians. When it comes to challenges, men tackle big challenges and women tackle challenges, or rather face it. They are best at treating immediate needs. Oh, this used to puzzle me, if I'm going to be honest with you. It used to puzzle me. I struggled to understand why my wife could not just plan ahead for some certain things. Not for everything. Some things she can plan ahead and all that. But there's some things, that needs to be done at home. She just won't do it on time or plan ahead. I don't know how to explain it. I used to pause and I'm like, okay, why don't you do this now, so that tomorrow when you come back, you won't have to do it, so you can have time to rest. She'll be like, no. I don't want to do that. I want to do it when I come back. You come back from work, you're stressed. Then when you start doing all those things, I'll be like, a day before, you had a little time. Why did you use that time to do this? So you have more time to rest the next day. She'll be like, no. It needs to puzzle me at the beginning. But now I'm at peace with it. Like, why can't you? Why do you want to stress yourself further when you can just do this now? Women are built to meet immediate needs. As it is happening, they're like first responders. When there's a problem, they can meet it then. But a man thinks far ahead. That is why men are more strategic. Men think far ahead and start preparing now for what is going to happen in the future. Okay. You know how you drive and you anticipate what the driver or the car in front of you might do. So there's a way you drive and accelerate in such a way that in case that driver halts abruptly, you won't have to also step on your brake abruptly. So men have the capacity to judge what might happen or what might not happen, but women don't. When the guy stops abruptly, definitely they stop. But the man can see far away and stop accelerating just in case and start applying his brake little by little so there's a smooth drive. But most women can't do that. This is just an example. I'm not saying that all women are like that, but it's an example of what I mean by this. Men tackle big things, so they think ahead. Women would rather take it one day at a time. Men are goal-oriented, women are need-oriented. This is why unemployment hits men more than it hits women. That's why a lot of men suffer from midlife crisis when they hit their 40s because they're goal-oriented. They've driven themselves in their 20s and in their 30s, and they've gotten to a point where they've achieved that which they want to achieve. So by mid-40s, 50s, they look around like, what next? And they start suffering from midlife crisis. That's when they look for a younger version of their wife to either marry or date. They look for a sports car to buy. They look for one crazy hobby, that they will get involved in. Why? They've achieved what they want to achieve in life and they are lost at what to do. That's why a lot of men that retire start dying off after retirement. It happens a lot. But it shouldn't happen to Christians because our goal and purpose in life beyond career and all that is till the end of life. That is winning souls and doing the work of ministry. And because of this ability in a man to think futuristic, they are very strategic. That is why you can count the number of women that are chess grandmasters. It's mainly men. It's mainly men. Hallelujah. So, like I said at the beginning, as I end, men are responsible. Women are responsive. It is the responsibility of the man naturally to lead. Does that mean that women cannot lead? No, women can lead. They can lead companies, they can lead industries, they can lead anything. Remember what I said, I'm talking about based on design from God and what God has in mind. This is purpose. Main purpose for the man is to lead, is to discipline, and is to be responsive. And you're seeing some of these things being, removed from our society today. During my time in school, high school, primary school, university, exams were crucial. But I've seen this constant modern debate to remove exams, so kids will not feel pressured, so kids will not feel bad. That's a feminine driven idea, not me, because men are built for competition. They want competition. That's what drives them. They're goal oriented. So this is a feminine driven thing. Remove exams. So those that fail won't feel bad, they won't feel depressed, mental health issues, and all that. And I get all of that. So what am I saying? Our educational system is becoming more feminized. Even the church today is becoming more feminized. Because when you read the Bible, you see clearly written in the Bible what should be done when this happens, that happens. We call it church discipline. But our church is becoming more feminized. We are trying to remove that from the church. We're trying to remove that from the church. How many times or how many churches have you gone to and they spoke about hell? Nobody talks about hell anymore. That's the feminization of the church. And it shouldn't be. Whereas Jesus taught more about hell than he did about heaven. Listen to me carefully. Heaven is not our destination. It's not. Our destination as man created by God is actually earth. Why we go to heaven is because the end of all things have not yet come. So heaven is more or less a waiting place for us, where we wait for the new heaven and the new earth to come. That new earth is where we will live forever and ever and ever and ever. Not only us. The Bible says after Jesus reigns on this new earth for 1,000 years, his Father, our Father, will also come and live on this new earth with us. So Jesus spoke more about hell because those that will not live with him on earth, in the new earth, will end up in hell forever and ever and ever. And he spoke more about it because it is what reminds us to live right. It's like discipline. It is what, would I say, illumes our soul, our heart and our mind of the dangers of not keeping to God's commandment. That is discipline. But you see that these conversations and messages, teachings on hell don't exist. I'm going to link on the top right corner here a message I preached on the location of hell. Hell is a physical place, the same way heaven is a planet. Hell is a physical place. But hell currently is not a planet. Hell is at the core of this earth. I usually make fun when I preach on hell. I tell people that you are standing on hell. Whenever there's a volcanic eruption, the Bible tells us it is hell expanding itself, because more people are trooping into that place than they are trooping to heaven. And accommodation must be guaranteed. The Bible tells us that the hell enlarges itself, creating more room because more people, millions, go in there in their droves. So it enlarges itself. And as it enlarges itself, it spews out the excess concrete. And we call it volcanic ash. Hallelujah.